Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. In this video, I'm going to go over my weekly stock picks for the week of September 19th through the 23rd. Before we do, just to reiterate, not a financial advisor, make sure that you do your own research. Also, if you find value in the video, smash the thumbs up button, subscribe to the channel if you enjoy our content, and hit the notification bell. That way YouTube can let you know every time we release new content. So let's dive right on into it. This week will be a little bit different than the weeks that we normally have. No PowerPoint this morning, obviously, and we'll talk about a couple of other stocks where we want to really talk about the overall state of the stock market, and will the stock market continue to go down and crash further than it has. And it's all coming down to me, the Fed meeting this week. And so we're going to go through this article here. We're going to talk about a few different stocks. We'll take a look at the charts and we'll kind of see what they're telling us. So it says the Dow Jones futures will open on Sunday evening along with the S&P 500 futures and the NASDAQ futures, with the Federal Reserve meeting in focus. The stock market suffered damaging losses in the past week on a surprisingly hot CPI inflation report, as well as some grim earnings report warnings, such as from FedEx. The major indexes got below their 50-day moving averages and undercut some further key levels on Friday. Many leading stocks also struggled. It's a time for investors to have minimal exposure at most, build up watch lists with stock boasting strong relative strength and holding key levels. Tesla, Enphase Energy, Celsius Holdings, Wolfspeed, and Vertex Pharmaceuticals all qualify. Of course, Tesla stock, Enphase, etc. look robust now, but they may not in the coming days. Plenty of stocks look strong until Tuesday. Others look solid until Thursday or Friday. Wolf stock is on the IBD leaderboard watch list. Tesla and Enphase and Celsius stock are on the IBD 50. Enphase stock and Vertex are on the IBD Big Cap 20. So we've been talking about that, how Tesla, even Amazon, I know Amazon kind of fell down a little bit further, but they've held their ground pretty well through that big downturn. Tesla specifically has been holding up pretty well, so it'll be interesting to see what happens on this upcoming week, as far as if it's going to hold there, or if it's going to start moving to the downside as well. So the Fed meeting is on September 20th through the 21st in the wake of Tuesday's consumer price index, which showed strength everywhere outside of gasoline. Markets reinforced expectations of a third straight rate hike of 75 basis points, and they say there's a slim chance of a monster 100 basis point move. Investors will be focused on what the Fed policy hints for the future. I honestly think that there's more than a slim chance that we get something like this, just based on how the numbers went up and how, I've said this before, but the government is, our Federal Reserve's trying to battle inflation, but our administration is just constantly increasing it by printing money nonstop. So it's so counterproductive on what they're doing, in my opinion. But anyway, the Fed quarterly projections will signal where policymakers see the Fed fund rates further out. Right now, the market is leaning toward yet another 75 basis point rate hike in November, followed by 25 or 50 in December. That would push the Fed funds target rate to 4 to 4.25%, or 4.25 to 4.5%, versus the expectation of 3.75 to 4% before the CPI data report. Fed Chief Jerome Powell will give the post-meeting comments at 2:30. Powell made it crystal clear in his August 26 Jackson Hole speech that the Federal Reserve would not repeat its mistakes of the 1970s by easing policy too quickly. So what he says at this meeting is going to play, obviously, a huge role in exactly what happens to the markets, because if he comes out and he's super hawkish, and the markets are going to freak out and they're going to dive down pretty quickly, and you're going to get a lot of good buying opportunities, basically like we saw in June, right? So we thought what was the bottom in June, and I think that if he comes out and he's super hawkish, we may see those prices repeat and give people a second chance to get in at some good prices. Okay, so it says the Dow Jones futures today. The Dow Jones open at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Sunday, along with the S&P 500 and the NASDAQ. So we'll go down here and talk a little bit about last week. And it says the Dow Jones tumbled 4.1% last week, S&P about 4.8%, and the NASDAQ 5.5%. Russell gave up also 4.5%. Now the 10-year Treasury yield ran up 13 basis points to 3.45% for the 7th straight week gain. At one point Friday, the 10-year yield hit 3.483, exactly matching the 11-year high set on June the 14th. U.S. crude oil fell 1.9% to $85.11 a barrel last week, third straight weekly decline. Natural gas prices sank 2.7%, but after a wild week of gains and losses. And I'll go over some ETFs down here. We're going to go ahead and look at the ARK. The ARK's one of the most commonly talked about or known, reflecting more speculative story stocks. ARK Innovated ETF fell 4.5% last week, and the ARK Genomics ETF 5.3%. Tesla is a major holding across ARK Invest ETFs. So these are the stocks that they talked about previously in the article. We're going to go through and just talk about what they did here, and then we'll go look at the S&P 500 specifically on the charts, kind of break that down. The Enphase stock rose 4% this past week to 318.01, continuing to find support at a rising 21-day line, pulling back to the 21-day, perhaps pausing for the 50-day line to catch up, might offer a safer buying opportunity. A number of solar plays still looking strong. Celsius stock, if you don't know what Celsius is, it's the energy drinks. You can find them at Buc-ee's, Walmart, Walgreens, and CVS. Celsius stock fell 4.9% to $100.70 last week, but found support at the 10-day moving average. A move above Thursday's high of 108.37 could offer an aggressive entry in a few weeks. Celsius stock could have a new base with a 118.29 buy point. EV-focused chipmaker Wolfspeed rallied 5.25% to 120.21, including Friday's 2.8% gain. Investors could treat 123.35 as a buying point for Wolf stock from a handle in a longer consolidation. VRTX stock fell 0.9% last week to 289.42, but rose 0.8 on Friday to push above the 21-day, 50-day, and 10-week lines. A move above the September 12th high of 296.14 would offer an early entry. It's possible VRTX will have a flat base in a few days with a 306.05 buy point. And then last but not least, Tesla. Tesla rose 1.2% to 303.35 this past week after soaring 10.9 in the previous week. Shares of the EV giant held support at the 200-day moving average. The relative strength line for Tesla has improved considerably over the past 2 weeks, hitting a 5-month high. The RS line, the blue line in the chart provided, tracks a stock's performance versus the S&P 500. Investors could use a move above Thursday's high of 309.12 as an aggressive entry, or the short term of 314.64. That would be a long way from the traditional buy point. For all these stocks, the weaker market conditions raise the risk of any purchase now. I'd have to agree with that there. So for Tesla, to me, if it drops, I think if the Fed meeting comes out and it's negative on Wednesday, I think that we see probably about 270 to 260 is what we can potentially drop to, if it's going to drop. I mean, it's been holding steady, the past week, and I hadn't really done much. But if it's going to drop, it's going to drop aggressive. So if you're in it, then you can, just kind of hold tight and look to buy more. But I don't know necessarily I would buy right here. I would probably wait until Wednesday, Thursday to see how it reacts to the Fed minutes and the Fed meeting. Because if it falls again, I think it can go down to about 270 to 260. So, all right, guys, let's take a look at the S&P 500 and let's see what they're telling us here. All right, guys, taking a look at the S&P 500, as you see here, the fib level is slowly about to update to where our high is no longer going to be 48.18. It's going to be 4,700, maybe 4,750-ish. We did break below support, okay, at the S&P 500. So if we look here, that support level was 38.89. We closed at about 38.73. And but however, which that kind of tells me we do have some more room to run to the downside. Unfortunately, it retests the 36.36 level, basically giving away all the gains that we got back from June to about mid-August. So I have to keep an eye on that and just look for that 36.36 level to be a major level of support moving forward. We are undervalued or oversold. However, we could go a little bit lower. Just because we're in the blue doesn't mean we're necessarily going to pop out of it, right? Because you see we're in the blue. We went way down here in the blue and popped our head up, and we're there again. So we could fall back down and again and retest at 36 level. So that's just remain to be seen. You have to kind of wait it out and see. But we did break below that support level. So unless we get above 38.89 or 3900 and hold there, then you can expect, especially after Wednesday's meeting, if it's very, very hawkish, to fall below there and probably over time retest at 36 level for the next couple of weeks at least. So I want to go over Zion Oil and Gas, their technical analysis. I know it's always on the watch list for us because they're getting close to an announcement. We are about to cross over from bullish to bearish on that MACD indicators. We see had a lot of volume coming in and a big sell-off on Friday afternoon. So we were at about 21 cents and we came all the way down, hit about 17 cents. We did bounce off of that support level, so that's a good sign. However, if we do cross over from bullish to bearish, then this 0.1671, very, very big level of support for us here. If we fall below that without any news, then you could start to see it kind of trickle down and maybe over time retest that 10-cent level. A lot of people are kind of guessing like, well, I think that the announcement's going to come in October. Well, we have no idea, because every month it's the same thing. As people are like, I think this is the month. And then when it doesn't come, I think this is the month. And then we just have no idea what's when it's going to come. Okay, so we have to kind of just wait it out and see from there. I mean, I know there's still some activity at the rig. They haven't shut anything down or nothing like that. I think that I guess testing's still not complete. Maybe they working on some other things. I'm not sure, right? So we will have to just kind of like I've told you before, make a decision. You're going to hold, you're going to buy, you're going to sell and take your losses. I don't know if you're some people I know are getting real anxious and it's making people crazy, but it's out of our control and our hands right now. We have to just wait it out and wait for the company to update us. But the good thing is, typically Mondays, Thursdays, or typically when they come out and let you know something about what's going on, right? PR updates and things like that. So in my opinion, all eyes are on Monday, Thursday of this week. And then if it doesn't come this week, then all eyes are on Monday, Thursday the next. So that's kind of my game plan on Xeno-G at this point. So anyway, guys, that's all I got for you in this video. Let me know your comments below. Other than that, we'll catch you in the next one.